Okay, so today we're gonna have a little bit of a look at the coconut and the various stages and types of coconuts that you might see at your market or supermarket or anywhere. The coconut, it grows on a palm tree, obviously, and you can actually pick it at different stages of ripeness. You know, like with most fruits, you pick them when they're ripe. But with the coconut, you can also pick them unripe. And that's because we're not really eating the fruit, we're eating what's inside the nut or inside the seed. So let's have a bit of a look at it. First, we're gonna have a look at the young coconut. So this is how the coconut looks when it's in its unripe stage, when it's young. It's hanging on the palm, it's still growing, still maturing. It's green, or it might be yellow. There are different types, so green or yellow. There might also be different sizes, like this one's pretty big. Some other ones might be bigger yet, or some might be really small. And that comes down to genetics, the genetics of the tree, the variety, the type of coconut. But these ones, medium-sized green coconuts. So they're growing on the tree. And what we do is we chop down the whole bunch of coconuts, and we get these young coconuts. And if they're picked really young, then the water inside won't really have that much taste, and the flesh will be very, very thin. If they're picked more towards the mature stage, the flesh will be thicker, and the water will be saltier and sweeter usually. So, you know, there's all kinds of ranges where you can get young coconut, very young coconut, more mature coconut, you know, all kinds of variations. So you learn how to find what you like, essentially, and you can listen for the density of the sound but essentially you have to learn by experience. So that's the young coconut, and inside the young coconut, this one I opened a few days ago, so it's not that beautiful, but see here, this is where it's attached to the plant, this one here. I chopped the coconut like this. You can have a look at this video if you want to learn how to open a young coconut. So I chopped it up and I opened up a hole and I drank the water. So very delicious and nutritious water inside it. Then you chop it in half. That's how it looks. So in here, the meat used to be, I ate it, but there's a nice, young, very tender meat inside. Some people call it coconut jelly. It's essentially the meat of the young coconut, which is very much less dense than the mature coconut. We'll get to the mature coconut soon. So that's the young coconut there. Next, let's have a look at this one. This is what they call a Thai coconut. Essentially, we're in Thailand right now, and what they do is that they take the young coconut like this, and they chop it off flat on the bottom, and then they carve it out, just chop off the husk until they're left with this. You can see the green still on there. The ones you get in the supermarket and outside of Thailand is usually there's no green on them, and you know they're packed in plastic and stuff. So the reason they do this is because then it's easy. You'll just take a knife, just take a knife like this, chop into it like bam, bam, around the top of the cone there, and then you can drink the water, chop it in half, eat the flesh with a spoon or whatever. So essentially it's just a young coconut, just like this one, just taking off the main part of the husk. Next up, we got the mature coconut. Okay, so this is the mature coconut. Very big, but again, that's because of the genetics that it's big. It might be small, others are smaller, but it's brown and very, very dry, very woody almost. This one, the young one, is more like, you can feel it's fresher, right? Whereas this one's dried up. And this one actually fell from the tree, because that's what happens as the coconut ripens on the palm. Eventually, it'll fall off. So this one just like drops down on the beach, and I just picked it up over here. So this is a ripe coconut, but of course we're not really after the fruit, we're after the water inside and the meat. So this one looks like this inside. So if you were to chop it off, and it can be quite difficult to get off the husk on these ones, but essentially you just chop lengthwise from the top to the bottom. You just make a slit, like you cut down like that, and then you can open it up and pull it off, and you have to dehusk it a little bit at a time. If you have a strong machete though, you could probably just chop it off like a normal coconut. You find your own way, but a little bit more difficult to open than these ones. But here you can see how it looks with the husk around, and inside is this coconut that looks familiar to you, I'm sure. So that's how it looks in the husk, and outside of the husk it looks like this. And this is what you'll see in the normal supermarket, you know, if you're anywhere in the world. This is what most people think about when they hear the word coconut. And the difference with this one to the young one is that the water is a little bit less sweet usually, and a little bit saltier. So I think that there's more minerals in this one because it's developed for a longer time on the palm, whereas the young ones is more sweet. So sweeter, saltier. So I don't really have a preference. Sometimes I like the mature ones, other times I like the young ones. They're good either way. The way you open it is very easy. You just have 3 holes here on the top of the coconut. And the biggest one, which is like, if you look closely, you can see that there's like 3 sections. 1, 2, 3. And the big one, 2 of them are small and 1 of them is big. And the big one has a hole that opens. So you could just put your knife in there and poke it open. And there you go. You drink the water, and then eventually you want to chop into it to eat the meat. If you want to though. Personally, I wouldn't really recommend eating that meat because it's very, very hard to digest. Maybe a little bit, you know, you could eat a little bit, but it's very, very hard to digest. A lot of saturated fat in there. I would much rather recommend you eat the meat out of the young coconuts, which is higher in sugar, lower in fat, easier to digest, higher in water, as opposed to this one, which is really dense. But nevertheless, if you want it, what you do is basically just chop along the ridge. I'll just do it now so you'll see. Just chop it around there with the back side of the heavy knife. And there we go. There it is. That's the familiar coconut there. Okay, so that's the mature coconut. Last but not least, the sprouted coconut. This is the same as this one, a mature coconut. It fell down from the palm and it's been left on the beach for a while. I'm not entirely sure how long. I'm guessing a few months. Just left on the beach for a few months. It starts sprouting, right? Because this is a fruit. It's actually a nut, you know, and it has a seed inside, so it wants to become a new palm, obviously. So it starts sprouting. So it's a new palm tree is coming out of the coconut there. And on the other side here, you can have a look what's happening. Here we have the nut, you know, just like the other one, but you can see roots coming out here. So big hole on the top, the one that opens. Out of that hole comes a sprout, which grows upward, and then the roots, which grow downward. The roots go down into the earth, sprout goes up, and of course what happens is that the meat inside the coconut is now being consumed by the sprout as energy to build a new palm until it can take enough energy from the earth. So I'm gonna open this one and we can have a look at the sprouted coconut as well. I'll be right back. So I took off all the husk and now you can see more detailed how the sprout comes out of the hole and the roots go down, and inside of here there's like a big spongy ball that converts the fat into sugar to go into the plant, and then the sugar converts that to cellulose to build build its structure, I believe. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I think. And that spongy ball is delicious. Sprouted coconut is amazing. If you want to see how the sprouted coconut looks, you could check out this video where we show you how to open a sprouted coconut and how to eat it too. Very delicious, one of my absolute favorite foods. So that's it. As you can see, the coconut is a very versatile food. It's very, you know, it can have a very different nutrient composition depending on what stage you get it from. You know, the young coconut is sweet water, and the meat is quite sweet and not so fatty and very, very delicious. The more mature coconut, where the meat is really hard, really dense, almost pure fat, still delicious though, and the water is more salty and less sweet. If you get the sprouted coconut, there's no water at all. It's just a big spongy ball inside, and it's salty and strange, and nutrient composition is mostly sugar, I think, and then the oil is around the edge. And yeah, and then there's the Thai coconut. You know, how's that look? And there's all kinds of different variations on the coconut, so everyone finds something that they like, and I think really the coconut is really an essential part of a healthy lifestyle, in my opinion. I find it to be a very nutritious, delicious food. I like to consume it on a daily basis, actually. The water especially, I drink 2 to 3 coconuts per day, and I eat the meat of a couple of them every now and then. Nowadays I'm eating a lot of durian, so my fat intake is already a little bit high, so I typically stay clear of eating too many coconuts then. So if you're in the tropics, you know, get yourself some young coconuts if you can climb the tree, or maybe you have to buy them. But if you're going on the beach, you usually find these ones on the ground everywhere for free, you know? And the same goes for the sprouted ones, you know? They just look like this, but with a little bit of a sprout coming out. And of course, anywhere in the world, usually in supermarkets, but at least if you go to the Asian markets and stuff like that, you'll be able to find imported Thai coconuts, so that you can still drink coconuts even though you're outside the tropics. That's it. Thanks a lot for watching. Drink your coconuts, eat your coconuts, adore your coconuts, look at your coconuts. You can make things out of your coconuts, right? Imagine taking out the meat and making like a little bowl. All kinds of things, very versatile. So enjoy your coconuts and have a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. You can subscribe to these videos if you haven't done so already, and check out all our other videos about coconuts and health and fruit. Check out our website at sweetnaturalliving.com for tips on getting started with the raw food diet and health coaching and all that stuff. And I'll see you around in the next episode.